back to his intelligence, his skill at covering up crimes, or his brutal yet meticulous ways of killing. He's been known as the Dark Defender, a serial killer who only targets other killers, which already sets him apart in the world of fictional murderers. But what often slips past even longtime fans of the show is something that has always been right in front of our eyes: Dexter's charm. Surprisingly, this hidden superpower finally got the recognition it deserved in Dexter 2 Resurrection when both Leon Prater and Angel Batista pointed it out in episode 9. And honestly, they couldn't be more right. Dexter Morgan may be a cold-blooded killer on paper, but in practice, he's one of the most magnetic personalities in television history. That's a huge part of the reason why he was able to keep his double life hidden for decades, and why fans have always rooted for him, no matter how dark his deeds get. What Prater and Batista brought to the surface was something that Dexter himself doesn't even realize: his ability to win people over instantly and blend into their lives without much effort. In episode 9, Leon Prater directly said there was this certain Janie says coy about Dexter. It's that undefinable quality that just makes you want to trust him, talk to him, and let him in on things you wouldn't normally share with someone else. Batista, being more straightforward, broke it down differently. He explained that Dexter's true gift is his manipulation, but not in a crude way. It's so natural that people never suspect him. Batista went as far as to say Dexter twists things out of context, lies without hesitation, and yet still manages to pull you in with that goofy smile that Michael C. Hall has perfected over the years. That charm isn't just a disguise, it's the exact reason why no one at Miami Metro or Iron Lake ever figured out who he really was. What makes this revelation so interesting is it completely flips the stereotype of serial killers on its head. Usually, we imagine them as loners, antisocial types who can't maintain relationships or friendships. Dexter is the exact opposite. Whether in Miami or Iron Lake, he built social circles with ease. He was a beloved co-worker, a dependable friend, a family man, and even someone who could win over strangers like Blessing Kamara's family in just a few hours. On the surface, Dexter looks like the kind of guy who couldn't hurt a fly, which is exactly why no one ever suspected him of being a serial killer, even after 30+ years of killing. And it's not just the characters within the show who fall for Dexter's charm. It's us, the viewers, too. Michael C. Hall brings such warmth, humor, and quirkiness to the role that you can't help but like him. From his offbeat smile to his awkward but genuine attempts to connect with people, Dexter feels oddly relatable. Fans excuse his monstrous acts not only because he kills killers, but also because his charisma makes him someone we want to root for. Imagine if Dexter were portrayed like Gareth, one of Resurrection's new villains, a weird, off-putting creep with no redeeming social skills. The show wouldn't have lasted as long as it has, nor would audiences have embraced Dexter as one of TV's most iconic antiheroes. Another overlooked point that Prater and Batista's comments highlight is how important Dexter's friendships and relationships are to the entire franchise. Think about it. So many of the most memorable storylines didn't come from his kills, but from the people around him. His complicated relationship with Deborah, the tenderness and struggles with Rita, the father-son dynamic with Harrison, and even the constant juggling of workplace drama at Miami Metro, these connections made the story rich and layered. Without Dexter's social skills, none of those relationships would have worked. If he really was the awkward loner he thought of himself as, Dexter would have been a very different and far less engaging show. But here's where the irony kicks in. Dexter is the only one who doesn't see it. While others describe him as charismatic, magnetic, or even likable, Dexter often sees himself as a monster. He's constantly weighed down by his dark passenger. Believing it makes him incapable of truly connecting with others. He thinks of himself as broken, pretending to be normal just to fit in. But the truth is his version of pretending is so convincing that it's actually just who he is. Whether he likes it or not, Dexter is one of the most social characters in TV history. Almost everyone who meets him ends up liking him, inviting him into their lives, and even trusting him with their secrets. That doesn't sound like a man who can't connect. It sounds like someone who has a gift for it. Even his biggest problems throughout the series often came from having too many friends, obligations, or people who cared about him. From Deb's constant demands on his time to Rita's expectations, Harrison's needs, and his professional commitments, Dexter often found himself stretched thin because everyone wanted a piece of him. That's not the life of a loner. It's the life of someone who is genuinely liked and valued by others. Of course, there's a dark side to this too. As much as his charisma helps him blend in, it also makes his story even more tragic. Because no matter how many friends he makes or how many times people fall for his charm, his dark passenger always ruins it in the end. Almost everyone Dexter gets close to eventually ends up hurt, betrayed, or dead. Batista's fate in Dexter Resurrection only reinforced this painful truth. His charm can protect him from suspicion and win him a place in people's hearts, but it can't protect those people from the consequences of being in his orbit. The show has even made fans wonder, what if Dexter could just let go of the dark passenger? If he could walk away from killing and accept that his charisma and people skills are enough to build a fulfilling life, he'd probably be one of the most loved and respected people wherever he goes. He'd have the perfect family life, friends who admire him, and a career where everyone sees him as the dependable, trustworthy guy. But because his addiction to killing always pulls him back, that dream will never be his reality. Still, what Prater and Batista brought up in episode 9 is more important than it seems. It's a reminder that Dexter's story isn't just about his darkness, but also about his light, his ability to connect to charm, and to build relationships even when he doesn't think he deserves them. His forgotten strength isn't his intelligence, strength, or skills as a killer. It's his personality, the thing that made both the characters in the show and millions of fans around the world fall in love with him in the first place. So while Dexter himself might continue to think of himself as a monster hiding in plain sight, the truth is that his humanity has always been more visible than he believes. It's the reason why we're still watching, still invested, and still torn between rooting for him and fearing him. And now that Dexter Resurrection has finally put a spotlight on this side of his character, fans can appreciate that his greatest strength was never the dark passenger. It was always his charm,